Hey everybody. Hey everybody. Happy day. Happy day. I hope everybody is indeed having a happy day. Welcome to Topic Tuesday. Um Joey, it still did the thing.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Okay, I can't figure, my brain cannot figure out this lag between the Zoom meetings and the YouTube. So I'm gonna edit that creepy. Sorry for staring at you guys, grinning for 20 seconds. But welcome to Topic Tuesday. I'm joined by my wonderful friend Joey. Hi, Joey.
Oh,
Thank you for being here. How are you doing today?
great. It's an interesting 8-8 Lionsgate.
Yes, happy Lionsgate, everybody. Let me write them here in the chat for anyone who joins. Yeah, so today is the Lionsgate portal. So the energies are high and intense. And
Into
they're, I had a hard time waking up this morning. I don't know about you, but I'm going to look up so we can just chat. What is the Lionsgate portal 2023? So that we can have a little idea of what what is it about?
What are we going through?
What are we going through? All right. Let's look up. You want to look up Hindu times, today, parade. Where are the actual like astrology? Okay. Here we go. We're looking on askangels.com and integrating the cosmic light codes of awakening with the 8-8 Lionsgate portal. Every year on and around the 8th day of the 8th month of each year, August 8th, there is a cosmic alignment called the Lionsgate portal or the Lions Gateway. The Lionsgate portal marks a time of increased cosmic energy flowing between the physical and spiritual realms. This astrology and spiritual gateway has roots that go way back to the ancient Egyptians and for thousands of years has been observed and honored as a sacred time of activating energy and good vibes. The 8-8 Lion Gate portal is marked by the powerhouse number 8-8, the sun's presence in the astrological sign of Leo the Lion, and the rising of the star Sirius on the horizon. Sirius is often associated with the expansive qualities of the planet Jupiter and carries an energetic impulse for action, accomplishment, providing an open window for manifestation, and consciously co-creating with the natural energy to manifest blessings in your life. As the star Sirius rises on the night sky, Orion's belt directly aligns with the Pyramid of Giza. And from our perspective on Earth, it appears that Sirius, the brightest star we can see, comes closer to Earth for a little cosmic perspective. The star Sirius is twice the size of our sun and 26 times brighter. Wow. This is why during the Lionsgate portal, there is such a profound and powerful source of spiritual light available to you during this time. It is like a cosmic holiday emphasizing soul embodiment, celebrating the abundance of life's blessings, attaining elevated spiritual wisdom, nurturing growth, manifestation, and harvesting the bounty of the season. This means that around the time of the 8-8 Lionsgate is a powerful time to start manifesting. All right. So it goes more into it. This looks like a great article if you want to read more about how to align with the other energies and all of that. And you want to go to askangels.com. what is the Lionsgate portal? So I'm going to read more of that later because that looks awesome. Ask Angels by Melanie Beckler. And I've watched a few things of hers on TikTok and stuff. She's great. So I really recommend her. So yeah, so this is a powerful time for manifestation. And so looking at, what are the things that you're wanting to create? I think one of the biggest lessons for us is learning. And this is like the number one thing that I work with my clients is that we are powerful co-creators and that we are creating whether we are aware of it or not. And so when our life is often chaotic and is reflecting back to us, maybe some unwanted things, the first step is owning the power and authority that we have so that we can create more of what we want. And I think a lot of people really struggle with accepting that they have that kind of power. Everything in our society is, kind of like set up to tell us we don't have power, distracting us from our power or shaming us for using our power.
Yeah.
So, it can be a real challenge for people to really own the fact that they can manifest things. But this is a powerful time to step into that, So take a look at what are some things that you would like to create in your life. I'm going to charge my computer real quick. What are some things that you would like to create in your life? What are you going to be working on, Joey? What are some things you want to create in your life?
Physical health is a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Physical balance.
Yes. And a lot of us, Joey and I were talking before we hopped on, a lot of people are having an influx of physical symptoms. There's a lot of people who are having numbness in their arms. And I've been having some weird vision stuff going on. And that is a great segue into exactly what we're going to be talking about today, which is that the body is a communication device.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that while things are ramping up with the energies and the celestial bodies are aligning in different ways, and we're ascending and raising our vibration, it makes sense then, if we're going with the philosophy that our body is a communication device between our higher self and our human experience, that we would begin to have more communication. And the way that looks for us is symptoms in our body. And using this premise or this philosophy that the body is a communication device is how it was like 90% of the healing that I've done in my life is being willing to believe that body, first of all, is a communication device between our higher self and our human experience. And it's like this is a simulation.
Yeah.
And our higher self is the one playing the game. And the body is the controller. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so
Faced with this reality.
right. And the goal is, to work through karma, or I don't know, maybe the goal is really just to like enjoy living. Who knows? We all, I guess, have different goals, and we'll know what our goals are based on.
It's funny when you say it like that, because then it just depends on which video game we're playing, right?
Right. And I guess it can change, all of there's different goals at each step of the way. I know goals for me have shifted over and over and over and over again, and that goes into like, well, I mean, even like, how do I know what my goals are? Like some of us are just feeling we're so lost and we are so disconnected from the body. that we are not even tapped in enough to recognize the feelings and the sensations and the communication that we are having, and that is when illness will show up, right?
Absolutely.
Because or like more severe manifestations, because our spirit guides will whisper gently to us, like, hey, look at this. Hey, look at that. Hey, what about this? And if we are disconnected, if we're dissociated, if we are in our devices all of the time, if we are not present in the moment, then we're quite possibly not going to hear those whispers, right? And so what ends up happening is that first things happen in the astral realm, and then they'll become more dense and more dense and more dense and more dense and more dense until they become something physical. And that's how anything is created, right? That's like everything, like the fact that these books are here. It was created first in the astral realm. Our thoughts create reality, and so it is, right? And that's how illness is also created. We come into this life, as a lot of us, especially those of us who came here to do this work, this healing and ascension work, we took on not only our own karma from our own life and lives that we've lived before, we brought on the karma of our ancestors and all the lessons that they have to work through. And then we're feeling the consciousness, the collective consciousness. And we brought all of this energy into our body, knowing that when it was time to shift, the appropriate people and guides are going to show up and give us the information. And then we're able to do what we came here to do, which is shift it, because this is a planet of free will. And so in order for things to shift, it has to happen from the inside and not the outside, right? And that is how, again, everything works. Because if you want to shift your outer reality, we think, oh, well, if I control this or this, my outer reality will shift. But really what's happening is there's an inner shift, and then the outer reality reflects that vibration back. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. That's the as within, so without.
Right. Yeah.
As above, so below. It's so funny because it's like we say or we hear these little cliche sayings, but really this is like, once you understand what it really means. Also, I realize a lot of people are checked out because they're in physical pain.
Yes.
Some people, and unfortunately, not only is it a sign, but now that you are, I've, been guilty of it, certainly taking pain medication, just disassociating instead of paying attention. And unfortunately, then the body just gets louder.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So yes, like along those lines, I remember when I first got the concept of don't numb the pain, right? Like I had just been living on Advil, and I just took it all the time every day. And then I started working for a chiropractor, and she was like, there's a reason why you're in pain. Like, you instead of just numbing the pain, you have to look at what is actually causing the pain and fix it. And I think that was my first like real experience of like, you mean it's not just normal to be in pain all of the time?
And that's totally how everybody looks at it. You don't very, very rarely does a healthcare professional speak to you that way.
Yeah, I feel super, super, super grateful that that I had Stacy. Her name is Stacy Hudak. She's an amazing, amazing chiropractor in Heathrow, Florida. Like, I've seen 100 chiropractors at least by this point, and she is still the best chiropractor. And she really was a big part of me waking up to all of this information, you know, and it is rare that we have a practitioner who says like, hey, that pain isn't normal. I've had so many doctors tell, like mainstream doctors tell me,
Mhm.
oh, well, you're just getting older, or, oh, well, that's just how it's going to be, or like, oh, and it's like, well, just numb it. Like our medical system is numb.
Absolutely.
I feel like they have to be numb because
Yes. Their power's been taken away.
their
They can't.
power is, yeah,
It's just like politics too. You can't play the game if you have any actual power. You have to give
yeah,
up the power just to live in that way. And you know, I know a lot of medical professionals want to help, but they literally run the risk of losing a license if they start talking in real speak.
they do.
It's
That's what happened with the Lyme doctors,
oh yeah. Oh,
because um what started to happen was there's the IDSA, and they are the ones that are responsible for saying like, this is what a disease is, and this is what it takes to treat it, and this is, you know, like that
that's
kind of it. The insurance goes off of what the IDSA guidelines say. Well, with Lyme, you know, people had their hand in the honey pot because
mhm.
trying to work on vaccines. And said Lyme disease is hard to get, easy to treat, 2 to 6 weeks of doxycycline, and you would be good. And there's no such thing as like chronic Lyme disease. And so that's what the insurance company says. Well, these doctors are realizing that that's not true, that Lyme is prevalent. It is an epidemic. I am so like, I really look forward to the day where society acknowledges that Lyme disease has been the quiet epidemic. Little side note, there's a movie out right now called The Quiet Epidemic about Lyme disease, streaming on all platforms. I highly recommend it. But so what happened was these doctors started to say, oh, well, they need more than, you know, not only do they need more than the doxycycline, but the doxycycline isn't even the best thing, and it's causing more problems, and natural is really the best way to treat Lyme rather than coming at it with harsh antibiotics. And what happened was the insurance companies started to sue the doctors, even though the patients were healing. They were suing the doctors for malpractice and taking their license. So now we have all these Lyme literate doctors who can't accept insurance, because if they accept insurance, they'll lose their license. And so but yet they're doctors and they're used to living these cushy lifestyles. So like my Lyme doctor charges $750 for the first visit, and he spent maybe 45 minutes with me.
Holy crap.
Yep. Yeah. And then we had to spend, I think we spent like 5,000 on testing, and you know, follow-up visits were like $250 for a half an hour.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I'm creating Misfit Sanctuary, because what ends up happening is these people are abandoned by the medical system. They're sick for long periods of time. Doctors don't recognize it, so they end up homeless, abandoned by their family. And so Misfit Sanctuary will be the sanctuary where they come and they take their power back and they learn how to heal themselves, and they're validated and loved and supported, because our system is so fucked up.
Yeah.
But anyway, I digress. I digress. Hi, Betsy. Happy day. Thanks for being here. So I digress. So yeah, our system, I feel like the ones that are still in the stream, they have to numb themselves, because especially right now with all this awakening happening, they're starting to see that what they're doing is not
Mhm.
not
I mean,
great.
it's awful. And that's They took an oath and now they're being harmful. Oh, yay.
Showing Joey some love. Yeah, they took a vow, and they know somewhere deep inside that something's not right. And so I feel like they're numbed out too. And so everything has us, it's like, hey, just numb out, be dissociated, be distracted, don't look at it. You know, when there's something uncomfortable with your body, it means your body is broken or sick. There's something wrong.
Or you're old, or you're a
Give your
woman.
power, give your power. Right. Yeah. And what we're going through with this awakening is realizing that the biggest part of my healing happened when I realized that and I was, in organ failure at this point. And I realized that, and this is such a hard shift for someone who is really, their physical reality is showing them illness, right? It's such a hard shift, but this is pivotal. Because first you have to understand that your outer reality, your now experience, is a reflection of the thoughts and vibrations and beliefs and traumas that are active in your body, right? And
Yeah.
so that means that if you shift those beliefs and those vibrations and heal that, the outer reality will reflect something different. And so oftentimes the struggle is, the place where I chose to believe that there was nothing wrong with me, that my body was not broken, and this is why I do the this and that affirmations. Although my physical experience in this moment shows me that my body is dying, I also know that I have the power to shift this, and that I am doing everything I can to align with the new reality. And I know there's a healed version of myself, and I'm so excited to align with that healed version of myself. Although the physical reality shows me this, I know in the energetic realm, the healing has already happened. And I am so excited to align with that. And making the shift from I'm sick, there's something wrong, to my body is working perfectly. And it is communicating to me. It is the map towards showing me what traumas are where. What vibrations am I stuck in? What thoughts and beliefs am I stuck in? And then as we heal, and as I healed those thoughts and beliefs, then the reason for the message is no longer needed, right? Message received. So then the illness will go away. It will. And again, I think it's hard for people to own that they have that kind of power. And there's also the fear of like, well, what if I choose to believe this and the illness doesn't go away?
Right. Yeah. Well, and
Then,
also at that, their responsibility is huge.
yeah. And understanding that it's a fine line between owning responsibility and slipping into shame and blame.
True.
Right? Like we can look at our experience and go, oh, I created this. I created this out of programs running from childhood. I had these programs because at the time they kept me safe. And now the universe is just showing me that they're no longer keeping me safe. And so now I am getting the cue from the universe by my reality being however it is that is uncomfortable, that it's time for me to shift, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's it. That's all it is. It's not oh, well, it's my fault, my life sucks because I have all of this trauma, and it's all my fault. And like that's a program that we have to shift. Like the martyr program is a big program for us to shift. Those of us that are dealing with chronic illness, I would say 90% of the people that I work with that have chronic illness dealing with the martyr program.
Absolutely.
They need to suffer for some reason. I I had a client who and I had been working together for quite a while. She's a good friend of mine. So she was one of the people that I got to practice with when I first started working. She's an amazing person. I don't think she would mind me saying her name. Her name is Bree. She actually did a video testimonial on my page. And so she had the program running. We started working together. Her life was fucked. And she started to do the work to shift her energy, and then her reality shifted drastically, right? And became a total opposite to what it was. She did so amazing at shifting her reality. It was amazing to watch. And you know, when we shift our reality, oftentimes we go through a period of chaos, and to watch her alchemize that chaos and use it for the good and stay focused on what she wanted, like, it was such a beautiful thing. But even though her reality of like her personal life shifted, she was still having chronic illness. And testing her, and she had the program running, I deserve to be punished. And the way that she punished herself was through illness. And we let me turn this. We worked on in theta. We shifted and shifted and shifted, and she went back and she went back and she went back. And so we did a BQH session. This is like my favorite story with BQH.
Nice.
Beyond quantum healing, past life regression type kind of stuff. Consciousness exploration, really, because it's so much more than past life regression. And so we take her into the life that where this program was formed. She's a Native American woman. Her village gets ransacked and pillaged and burnt to shit by these men. And she saves a cow and a handful of children. And she keeps them safe for a while. And they're running from these men. And she keeps moving them and running. And then she sees that like they're in a space where they can't run anymore. Like the men are going to come and get the children. And she makes the decision to make a concoction, an herbal concoction, tea that will, the kids will go to sleep and they won't wake up. Wow. So because she wanted them to die peacefully and not die to this raping and murdering and, you know, horrible trauma. So she made this concoction. She sees her give it to the children and snuggle them and love them, and they fall asleep and they die peacefully. And then the men show up and like brutally murder her because they're so angry that now she took what they wanted. You know, they were enslaving children. And after she saw, I was like, you see, like, how do you feel about that? And she was like, I really feel like I did the right thing. Like, yeah, I took their lives, but like they died so much more peacefully. They were going to die either way.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, are you ready to release the program that you deserve to be punished? And she was like, yeah. And that's it. Like, she's been working full time, like going and enjoying her life. Like, she is no longer punishing herself.
That's amazing.
Amazing. Oh my God, Joey. It's like incredible to watch this shift like that. And so that's an example of how we can have programs running from past lives.
Yes.
And we don't even realize we have them running. And our reality will show us. Like, that's the thing. Like, if you are paying attention to your reality and looking at what are you seeing in your reality and what are you seeing in your body? And how could that be a reflection showing you what you want to shift? And then how can you shift that? You know? And so like in the outer reality, like in that sense, it's like, for example, I had the story of I am abandoned. I had this story since I was little. I came in with it. And so I was abandoned by everyone and everything. And like it was just crazy. And until I learned, right? Because at first we think the way we've been taught is something happens in my physical reality, and so I feel this way about it. Something happens in my physical reality, and so I feel this way about it. It's not actually what happens. What truth is I have something active within me, and then the universe creates that, what I have active.
Yes.
If I have the program, I'm abandoned, the reality of that I will see is I am abandoned, and it's happening so the universe can go, hey, you have this program active, right? And so as soon as I learned about all this stuff, I was like, I wonder, like, okay, I'm seeing abandonment in my life.
Yeah.
Where am I abandoning myself? Right? Everywhere. I was abandoning myself for relationships. I was abandoning myself for security. I was abandoning myself for money. I was abandoning myself all over the place. I mean, all over the place. And then I was creating illness from it. And I was using the illness as a way to get attention, not on purpose, right? These were all subconscious programs. And when I stopped and I started to go, okay, moment where I feel triggered by abandonment, right? Every moment where because everything happens in the moment. We only have the power over the moment. We don't have the power over everything all the time. We have power in the moment. That is when we are connected to source. That's when we're connected to our guides. That's when we will have the divine guidance on what we need to do. And so that I felt triggered by abandonment. And if you do this, the same thing will happen for you. Anytime you feel triggered by abandonment and you go, wait a minute, where am I abandoning myself?
Yeah.
Show up for myself. What can I do in this moment to show up for myself? Because no one can abandon us until we abandon ourselves first. It happens inside and then outside, right? So if you're having relationships with narcissistic partners, it's because you abandon yourself.
Yeah.
Like there are so many reflections that show us how we abandon ourselves. And in order for us to shift up, in order for us to shift into the 5D or above reality, I think we're going above 5D. We can't be abandoning ourselves.
Yeah.
So is doing us a favor by creating this funky reality to show us, hey, these are the things that you have active within you, and these are the things that you need to shift so that you can shift up. It's not a punishment. You're not a victim. We're not victims. Nobody's being punished. We are creating this reality with this source. And again, that doesn't mean any shame or blame. It's just responsibility. It's just ownership. It's owning your power. It's owning how powerful you are. And once you realize how powerful you are, life can be so juicy. It's amazing. You can really look at things and go, oh, how is this affecting me? Oh, well, where is that within me? I wonder what would, and just experiment with your life. I wonder what would happen if I chose to believe something different.
Yeah. Yeah.
And your life will change. And it goes the same thing with the physical symptoms of the body. The body is communicating to you the traumas that you have active, whether they're your own or from ancestors or past lives, right? And there's this book, Metaphysical Anatomy. If I just went back and I looked at my first videos that I put on YouTube, like, I don't know how many years ago, what I was doing was going through this book. I was reading from this book. Look, now it's like falling apart. I need a new book, you guys. Like, this thing is I just love it so much. I believe every house, it's Metaphysical Anatomy by Yvette Rose. I highly recommend every household needs to have this book. This should be like what people think of the Bible. Like everybody needs to have this book in your house and use it. And I highly recommend going to Yvette Rose's YouTube channel. She's got lots of fun little videos. She's really amazing. She's healed her life. I think she's Australian. She's got like a Aussie accent.
Oh, wait. Actually, I think she's from South Africa.
Oh,
Actually.
South Africa. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, she's amazing. I just love her so much. And so what had happened? Oh, Melinda, you have it. Yay! So, okay. Listen, my story was like I was homeless and I was in organ failure and I couldn't work. Like I literally couldn't work. It was rough, right? And I chose that I wanted to live. First, I acknowledged that if my body was dying, somewhere along the line, whether I was conscious of it or not, I had made the decision that I didn't want to be here, that I wanted to die.
Yes.
And I looked at my reality. I had attempted suicide 6 times. I don't know how many times I said I didn't want to be in my body. I mean, countless times. How many times I said I don't want to be here. I don't belong here. I want to go home. This isn't my home. Like all the various different ways that I told the universe, I don't want to be here anymore. And so the universe was just doing what I had said.
Right.
And with my teacher at the time, her name is Amber Murphy. She is amazing. She's still my teacher, always will be. I just love her so much. She very lovingly made me aware that the reason I was dying was because I wanted to die. And so I experimented with, well, what would it look like if I chose to live? Then I was like, well, I don't even know what that means. That's what I realized was I didn't even know. Like, think about that. Like,
yeah.
How do you live? It's so many of us are just coasting through life. Like we're just really disconnected and we're just here, right? We're
yes.
not consciously saying, how can I choose to be here? And I didn't, it's like, well, I don't even know what that looks like. So how does someone who wants to be here, how do they behave? And
yeah.
I was like, well, I guess someone who wants to be here would like love themselves. I guess someone who wants to be here would probably, like, I was just like making stuff up. I was like, well, I guess they would probably use their body. Like they would probably take care of their body. If they wanted to be here, they would probably take care of the vessel that they were in.
Mm-hmm.
I just started to experiment with like, oh, well, what does that mean? What does it mean to take care of the vessel that I'm in? What does it mean to love myself? What does it mean to, like have that kind of reality? And then be that person, do the things, right? Look at people who are living a life that they love living, look at what they're doing and just mimic it, right? And so that's what I started to do. And then, my body was still not healing as fastly as quickly as I wanted. And I had the idea of like, well, I can't afford a doctor. I'm abandoned, right? Like at the time I still thought I was abandoned. And then I was like, you know what? I don't believe that God or source or universe or myself brought me here so that I can just suffer and die. Like, is that really what we came here for? And that's the other thing too. Be conscious of what did you come here for? Did you suffer? Now, some of us did. Some of us did. And if you came here to suffer and you're having that experience, then congratulations, you're having the experience that you wanted to have. And that's it. But if you realize you are suffering and you don't want to suffer, then you need to realize that you came here for something different and start looking at well, what did I come here for? What do I want to experience? And so it's like, I don't believe that I'm here just to suffer. And so if in my reality, the money isn't showing up for me to go to a doctor, then it's got to be another way. Then there's something else, because I'm not abandoned. So, hey, universe, bring me the thing that I need. If it's not a doctor, then show me how to heal myself. If I'm finding someone in my outer reality to heal me, then to me that means I'm supposed to heal myself. Okay, bring me the knowledge, bring me the people, bring me everything that I need to heal myself. And this book came into my life, and I looked up Lyme disease and my other symptoms. And a big part of dealing with any kind of virus or parasite or chronic illness, we're dealing with programs of codependency.
Yes.
So that I was like, okay, I'm going to just choose to experiment and see what happens in my life if I work on the stuff that it says in this book, right? If I choose to work on my relationship with myself, the way that because viruses and parasites we're being attacked, right?
Yeah.
Being invaded. So there's that program of I'm attacked. And so, okay, if I have the belief that I'm attacked, first go within, where am I attacking myself? Right? And then I looked at, well, I was attacking myself all of the time. Negative self-talk all the time. Well, no wonder, if we're talking to ourselves like we're pieces of shit, then no wonder why our life is chaotic. No wonder why our body is failing, right? No wonder why it's calling for help. No wonder why it's screaming at us. And making the rule to not talk shit about yourself will be life changing, right? And Joey knows my rule. What's the rule? You know the rule?
Yeah, if you say something bad, you gotta say 3 good things, and that's hard.
Mm-hmm. It is, but it will help, and it becomes easier.
Yes.
They did a study where here's a monkey. They did a study where, well, it was like 2 things was happening. I was learning with children that for every 1 criticism we give them, it takes 7 to correct it or to heal the damage from that. And I also read an article where they were experimenting with negative talk. They made the rule that for every negative someone said, they had to say something positive. And what they saw was that people would avoid saying negative things just so they didn't have to say something positive. That's how much resistance there is to speaking kindly to ourselves. It's bananas, right? And so I brought those 2 together, and I was like, well, saying 7 things felt like a lot at the time. So I was like, okay, for every negative thing that I say, I'm going to say 3 positive things. And this is where that relentless responsibility comes in, because no one's going to know but you. Right?
Yeah.
But what will happen is by doing that, right? By first of all noticing that we've said something negative about ourselves, that brings us present in the moment. We have to be present in the moment to realize what we've just said.
Yeah.
So that raises your vibration a little, because you're present and you're no longer in, the ghetto of your mind. And then you say 3 positive things about yourself. That raises your vibration, right? And that will align with something different in your life. Like, I can't promise what it is that you're going to align with, but if you're raising your vibration, then from this negative self-talk to, I'm a good person, what you what your universe, what your world around you reflects back to you is going to be better than what it has been. And so what will happen is people will start to notice that it's different.
Yeah.
Start to notice there's something different about you. Like, you know, this might be a challenging thing because, you know, first I started with myself, right? Start with yourself. Every negative thing you say something, say 3 positive things. Be responsible. And I started to realize that, and maybe particularly as women, we bond through self-deprecation.
Gosh, yes. Oh my gosh, it's huge.
It's huge. It's huge. I would see hanging out with friends, and one would go, "Oh my God, my hair looks like shit today." And the other one would go, "Oh, you look great. Look at my hair. It's so blah, blah, blah." And then like, "Oh no, you guys are so pretty. Ugh, I feel so fat today." And we would just shit on ourselves, right? And so I looked at that and I was like, what are we really trying to do here when we're doing that? And really we're trying to bond. It's just a fucked up way to bond.
Yeah.
And I started to tell my friends, hey, I'm no longer gonna I'm working on shifting my life and healing and raising my vibration. And so I'm not gonna be around for this negative self-talk. So, you know, I'm going to tell you guys, every time you say something bad about yourself, you have to say 3 positive things. And then suddenly in my reality, no, there's no negative self-talk.
Yeah.
And like just doing that in your own reality will be transformative. Like even if that's the only thing someone applied in their life, you will align with so much better. Your body will start to heal. You will cultivate self-love. You will feel better about your experience. And when you feel better about your experience, you walk softer on the earth. Your life will shift, your life will change, and people will notice. People around will notice and they'll start going, what are they, what's going on? What are you doing? And maybe they'll ask and you can go, oh, I'm experiencing with this thing to, you know, of like every time I say something negative, I say 3 positive things. And maybe they'll do it in their life. I know in my house, this is a house rule. There is no negative self-talk in my house.
Yeah.
And my house feels safe. It feels so safe because of it, you know? And it
Okay, you've frozen, but I think. Can you hear me, Jess?
damn. Yeah, my internet is unstable.
Oh, see, now you're okay now.
I'm okay. All right. That's a really great frozen on the YouTube. That's so funny. Okay. Where did oh there we go. So I think Betsy was talking about the not wanting to be here.
Yeah.
At first. And so, yeah, Betsy, it's like really taking responsibility over, because here's the thing. If we might be having a hard experience and we might be okay with that. And
yeah,
if someone's okay with that, again, that like, then maybe they came here to have the experience. Their soul needed the experience of suffering in order to evolve, right? So that's why we can never look at anyone else's experience and have judgment over it. But you are living a life that you genuinely don't want to be living. The first place is real. The reason you're living, one of the reasons you're living a life that you don't want to live, is because you haven't made the decision to live. And a lot of us will avoid making that decision to actually live, because then we might have to make changes, right?
Yeah.
We might have to cut people out of our lives. We might have to leave partners. We might have to leave jobs. We might have to do some really difficult shifts, which will lead us into the purge, which is one of the topic Tuesdays that we've already shared, where basically all of the low vibration things leave your life, and it can be very, very painful and difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And so just looking at that, just like really questioning that, what would life, you don't even have to make any decision yet, right? But just looking at like, what could a life look like to be in it, right? Just being willing to be willing to be willing. What could life look like if I chose to want to be in it? And understand that by not doing that, there's a responsibility for the continuation of the life that you don't want to live, right? And there's no shame or blame or anything like that, right? It's just observation, just responsibility, right? And seeing what happens there. And then Betsy said, sometimes our negative self-talk comes from our parents. Yep, we kind of continue. Ancestral kind of gets passed down. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, a lot of the stuff, a lot of the programs that we're shifting are ancestral and stuff we brought on from our parents. And we can know that, right? And understand that, and we can choose to not continue, right? We brought that stuff on because we knew we were going to be able to shift it, you know. And then sometimes that is fishing for compliments too, right? I was a fisher, right? I would fish for compliments all the time, and when we're doing that, that is a reflection to show us that the program we have is like, I'm not good enough, I'm not, I'm not pretty, I'm not whatever, I need to I get my needs met through manipulation,
Mm-hmm.
a fear of being seen, and because there's a fear of being seen, and so then we won't do the healthy stuff to be seen, but we still have a need. Everyone has a need to be seen. And so then we go around our ass to get to our elbow by like fishing for compliments.
Yeah.
Betsy says the purge is kind of happening for me now. I needed today's message too. Oh, yay! Oh, well, Betsy, reach out. I'm here for you, girl. I am so super here for you. The purge can be rough, and it can, like, again, this and that, right?
Yeah.
This experience of the purge of these things leaving my life feels fucking god awful.
Yeah.
I also know that it's happening because I'm raising my vibration. It's happening because I'm aligning with something more. It's happening so that I can attract something better. It is actual proof that I'm doing the work, right? So understanding that, like, we can simon, it's like the alchemy, it's so sexy and juicy, like the alchemy of feeling what is in the moment and calling in what we want to actually manifest, and then knowing that that's going to manifest, right? And so the body is the communication device, and if we, my I keep moving my sorry, I'm like all over the place. And so just being mindful that looking at what is the reality and how is that reflecting what I'm doing in my inner reality, and knowing if I shift the inner reality, the outer reality will shift. You might have to give it a little bit of time because maybe we've had our, attention going in the downward spiral for years and years and years. And so like Abraham Hicks talks about, like the train slowing down, it doesn't just go from 100 miles an hour to stopping. Like it slows down really, really like painfully slow, and then it'll pause, and then it'll painfully slowly start the other direction. And then you have to come back, like however far you went into the ghetto of your mind, you have to come out that far. But then eventually you'll pass into the expansion. You'll come out of the contraction and into the expansion. And then that's when things will get like easier, and you'll have more flow, and not to say that there's not still lots of work to do, but it becomes more fun to do the work instead of a chore. And then also that the body is a communication device. If we are that, like, get this book, and when you have pain or when you have certain things coming up, then experiment with, well, if this is what my body may be saying to me, what happens if I heal that?
Yeah.
Thank you for working perfectly. Right? Thank you for showing me that there's something going on. I feel really inspired right now to actually share something like let's experiment together.
Yes.
So I'm going through some ramped up Lyme treatment because I'm like 80% in remission. But then I came off of the ivermectin and I started to have some symptoms again. So that tells me I'm still working with the programs of Lyme, and I'm still healing codependent. I am still healing. I am a work in progress, right? And so I started to take, and I can see in my life where I am working on these things. Like, I am still learning healthy boundaries, and I am still learning how to love myself and show up for myself. It is an ongoing process, but I started this ramped up treatment to bust all the biofilm, which releases all of the Lyme back into the system, and then treatment to kill the Lyme and then detox it. And since I started, y'all, without going into too much detail, my colon is angry. Oh, it hurts. It hurts to move. It hurts to breathe. It feels like someone drove a Hot Wheels car through my intestines, like a Hot Wheels track. Like it hurts. It hurts really bad. It hurts to touch it. And so my body is communicating something to me. I am processing something right now that has to do with the colon. So let's look up, we'll do this together, and we'll see if the colon, what message the colon has. 263, and see if it applies. Pretty sure it's the colon. I looked it up on Google, where the pain is, and it said that it was either the colon or kidney, but it's in the front, so I don't think it's kidney. Okay, colon problems. We'll see if if it's true, and then I will be exposed and you guys will see what I'm working on. It says also see digestive problems, diverticulitis, inflammation, infection, or polyps. There is like a part of my spirit that says I'm experiencing diverticulitis. Oh, that's a side note. Side note, real quick. Be careful about the way that you speak about your experience. Your words matter. And so oftentimes we will say, oh, my Lyme disease, my anxiety, my pain, my whatever it is, right? My, this, and what we are doing when we say that is we are taking ownership over that thing, that this is mine. Okay. And the universe is going to go, okay, this is yours.
Yeah.
Yours. So just a subtle shift from my whatever it is to the experience with Lyme disease, my experience with anxiety, something I'm experiencing is this, right? That allows it to, do you see the subtle difference? Like
Absolutely.
it allows to not be something to keep, but it's just something that's coming in for a temporary moment and then it's gonna go. Does
Yeah. Absolutely. That term I'm experiencing, that's huge. Because like how many how many times do you hear somebody diagnosed with something? They're like, I have this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the universe goes, okay, you have
Right. And then you have
know?
it.
And so the subtle shift with what I'm experiencing is, so my spirit has been communicating to me that I'm having an experience with diverticulitis, but I do not have a diagnosis from a doctor or anything like that. It's just some intuitive message that I got. And I on how it feels and it seems so. But we'll start with just colon problems. Okay. I feel really vulnerable right now.
I understand.
But in the name of healing, in the name of proving some stuff. Okay.
Try and find femur if you want. We can expose me as well.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So colon problems. You do not want to let go of past negative experiences and trauma. You feel irritated and angry as a result of past experiences that you could not change or had no control over. You are still stewing over unresolved issues. You know what? This makes sense because since we've been doing the story time,
Yeah.
like I have had a lot coming up.
I can tell it's a little activating.
Yeah, it's definitely been challenging. And I'm grateful for it because it's showing me things that I have to,
Yes.
you know. You're pushing through challenging circumstances on your own, making you feel overwhelmed, panicked, or angry. You struggle as a result of self-created stress due to your own stubbornness. Asking for support is not an option, in your opinion, as people will either fail to deliver or have unrealistic expectations in return for said support. Being supported by people has made you feel controlled. You have been carrying a great deal of shame related to your identity. The shame stems from asking for support and expressing emotional needs.
I feel like that just runs deep. That whole
Yeah.
like we reteach ourselves how to ask for support like over and over and over.
Yeah, and I am, I am honestly dealing with, I don't know that I would say shame with my identity, but I'm definitely dealing with some identity centered things. Your character has been attacked, and oh wait, the shame stems from asking for support and expressing emotional needs. Your character has been attacked and criticized by influential people. This has caused you to dissociate from your separate and unique identity. You often relate to family values. I got to turn the slide on, sorry. It might be really bright.
That's okay.
Sorry. This has caused you to dissociate from your separate and unique identity. You often relate to family values and beliefs as you do not feel strong or independent enough to be considered separately. Wow.
Damn.
The stress and irritation that you feel has now become all too much to carry. You are at a point where you feel you've bitten off more than you can chew. The responsibilities in your life are all consuming. You are pushing yourself too hard and are under a great deal of pressure. You feel aware of people's moods and are sensitive to the environment and people around you. Your emotions are heightened by the stress in your life. You're holding on to circumstances and relationships that are unhealthy for you and your personal progress. You may have a big fear of being alone. As a result, as we're reading this pain is getting super intense.
Gosh.
As a result of this fear, you often tolerate unpleasant and stressful circumstances in order to avoid being alone. You become involved with toxic circumstances, such as unhealthy relationships and people, as a result of poor personal boundaries. You need to be needed. When you are needed, you feel important, loved, and validated. You keep pushing issues aside, as you may feel humiliated and demeaned whenever you express how it made you feel. Nothing good has come from anything in your life in your eyes. It is a mess. It is only a mess. I don't identify with that at all. Your childhood set you up to see your sole purpose in life as an endless series of hardships and suffering. That used to apply, but that doesn't. I feel like I don't. That doesn't resonate anymore. Feeling an immense lack of everything you want in life. You are now busy overcompensating by being greedy, jealous, possessive, or controlling. Your feelings of anger and resentment are very intense and heightened. You have a strong fighting instinct. When your boundaries are overstepped, you establish your boundaries by projecting intense anger. You draw your power from this deep-rooted emotion and feel lost without it. This condition is often related to emotional, physical, or sexual abuse. Explore your ancestry for abuse if you have not experienced any emotional, physical, or sexual abuse. Well, I feel called out.
Yeah, which is the point.
Yeah. So there was stuff that doesn't resonate anymore. You know, like so okay. The important thing too is when reading these things, look where the resistance is.
Mm-hmm.
And just be willing to see if there is truth there. And so the thing that I'm being resistant to is you're now busy overcompensating by being greedy, jealous, possessive, or controlling. And the word greedy is particularly what I'm in resistance to.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like I am so on the opposite side of being greedy. But
the problem is that you haven't.
Right. Like, and I have been, I have experienced jealousy, and I have experienced, being controlling because overcompensating for, so there's the program of lack. It's getting less. I can feel it's less and less and less. And the more that I choose to trust that there is no lack and that I am amazingly abundantly provided for, that's really the thing is like I can see without a doubt that I work for the universe. And when puts something in front of me and I provide my services and my gift, even if the person can't pay, the universe provides for me. I have manifested a reality where I live in a community that is focused on gift economy, so I don't need to pay with money. You know, and I've manifested, like, it's like I have just enough to get by. I haven't stepped into the actual abundance of it. And there is a part of me that I think believes that to do that is greedy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And it feels greedy to me.
And that's that margin.
I'm really working on this with my coach. That like to charge more for my services, or in some cases charge at all.
Yeah.
Because I do trust that I am abundantly provided for. And so if the universe brings me someone that is in need of my services or wants my services, but they're not in a position to pay the $300 for it, you know, I feel like it would be greedy for me to say, like, hey, I know you need the help or want the help, and I know I have the skills to give it to you, but I'm not going to because you don't have this.
Yeah.
You know, but I do also understand that by me having that belief, I hold myself in this space of like poverty line, you know, like I'm almost off of food stamps, almost.
Yeah.
And you know, so there's a lot, you know, working with that, working with my character and who I am. There's a big part of there's fear in me stepping into my full uniqueness. And I know that it's only by stepping into that uniqueness and really being whatever I am that will bring me the success that I want. But in the past, when I've stepped into that, my family in particular, there's a few family members that have really attacked my character, decimated my character.
Wow.
And seen it in a way that it wasn't my intention at all. And so I pulled back in, and you know, there's the fear of actually being the full Jessica, you know.
I hear that.
Yeah, the fear of being seen. And so this makes sense. So I'm working through letting go past negative experiences, pushing through the challenging circumstances, and self-created stress, which is due with like my money experience and creating a business and like working on my character of like creating this person who is a professional businesswoman when I was raised to just think that my sole purpose was to be pleasing for a man, with a lot of like, who do I think I am, to step into this powerful version of myself. You know, I mean, I've already stepped into it in so many ways, but there's more, you know,
there's so many layers.
There's so many layers of it. And I feel like, you know, I know, like, I will create Misfit Sanctuary. I don't care if I'm 80.
We're already doing it. It's just, it's happening.
And in order for me to really align with, like, I think about what kind of a person is someone who runs a massive community of education and healing and sovereignty and all of this stuff. Like, that's a really powerful person. And like doing all that I can to step into being that powerful person. So that's an example of like, so I know then what I'm working on is releasing past negative traumas, or just even looking at it, just allowing it, just witnessing it. Like that really makes sense to me as we're going through story time and writing my book.
Absolutely.
Looking at how I am creating my own stress related to being stubborn. Stubbornness is a big thing for me. Oh, I just was told I have a program running that I keep myself safe by being stubborn. So I choose to release, I cancel, clear, delete, resolve, dissolve the program, thought, and belief of I keep myself safe through being stubborn. And I download from source's concept, program, and definition of I keep myself safe through boundaries, and that I know what boundaries look like. I know what boundaries feel like. I know how to have boundaries. I know when to have boundaries. I know it is possible to have boundaries. I live a life with healthy boundaries, and I have boundaries in all time, space, dimensions, and reality, past, present, and future timelines, core beliefs, soul level, history level, and DNA. Yay! Okay.
Nice. That's some beautiful alchemy.
Yeah. Yeah. Oftentimes the programs that we have running, we have them running because they're accomplishing something for us. There's a need being met, and we don't know how to meet it any other way. We haven't learned yet. But once we learn that we can meet that need in another way, then we no longer need that old program. Okay, so let's look up Joey. Femur, right?
Yeah. So I originally broke it in 2014. And every once in a while, that pain, it feels like it's broken again. And last night was bad.
Okay, it doesn't have femur.
So maybe like broken bone, broken leg, although it's
broken
not broken
bone. Okay, it does have that. All right. Bone problems, broken. 210. Okay. I hate to do this, but I have to go pee so bad.
Yeah, go.
And I can't hold it. So Joey, you hold the fort down, Joey.
Sure. I'll look it up in my book.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. I'll be back.
Okay, sounds good. All right. So we will do.
It's on page 210, I think.
Okay, sounds good. So my book is actually a different version. So in my book, it's actually 231. I think I have an earlier version of the book. And broken legs. Okay, this is really interesting. So originally I broke it in 2014. And what it says is you've been aimlessly moving forward in life. And at the time, definitely that was accurate. It's time to find a structured solution, goal, or passion to follow. There's a great need to create more happiness in your life. You're not utilizing your inner strength and self-acquired abilities. Instead, you've been moving and falling from one place to another with no direction and intention. You have a great fear of change and are very set in your ways. Changes in your life have been traumatic, stressful, and negative. You are sabotaging your personal progress by giving power away to others that do not have your best interests at heart. That was very true. You have a fear of moving away from old family values, and moving away from it might result in being rejected, abandoned, or attacked. Oh, that was very true as well. This is really interesting. And it's interesting to think that this is an injury that I suffered in 2014 when these things really were quite true. And then here the pain's coming back. It's like, what am I? Okay, so I'm revisiting these issues, I guess.
Yeah, looking at so it could be either, so looking at what was going on in your life when the accident happened,
Mm.
looking at how this reflects that. And then looking at if it's being activated now, it could be being activated because it's being healed, right?
Okay.
But it can also be being activated because you're doing the same, you're experiencing the same thing.
Same kind of, yeah.
Yeah. What, did you read the whole thing yet?
Yeah, it's just a little. So what I did is I just read Broken Legs.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
I want to say that it's like really important to read the bone problem too.
Okay.
Can we do that?
Absolutely. Please. Please.
Oh, Betsy said, I see a baby deer on this trail I'm on. Aw. In the neighborhood we live in, we've got a mama deer and 2 fawns that go through, and it's just, they're so cute.
Yeah, I have a lot of deer. I love it, but I actually I've been having a mama, and she got 3 little babies, and she's bringing them through my property, and it's so wonderful. And then there's 2 boys that hang out together too, and they wander around together, and that's pretty cool.
Aw, they're so sweet. I love them. I want to figure out how to feed them so that I can get them to like come
Yeah, you could.
white.
Oh yeah, they love that. I used to do that in Colorado. I would feed the deer. I would also feed the
You
baby
did?
rabbit.
What do you
Yeah.
feed them?
Well, I fed them cereal. I don't know if that's best for them, but that was what I was feeding them at the time.
Oh, I also want to look up. So I have this other book,
Mm.
Failing Diseases and Disorders.
Ooh, that's awesome.
It talks about bone fractures.
Yes.
And so it'll tell us the programs that are connected with bone fractures. So bone problems in general, this could mean, it says, see also accident, collarbone problems, concussion, plantar fasciitis, and skeletal system.
Ooh, dang.
So you often feel caught up in circumstances that make you feel resentful, pushed beyond your limits, or out of your comfort zone. Felt it necessary to suppress many talents and positive aspects in order to be accepted and respected by others. You often feel that your efforts are in vain. You feel that you are not good enough to just be yourself. You may feel that you've always had to fight your own battles with no support, causing anger and resentment. You are now at a breaking point and feel like a failure. You now have time to reflect on unresolved issues in your life that no longer serve you and are in need of change. Forces you to be still and reflect on the issues that sabotage your personal growth. Are you happy with your personal progress and goals so far? If not, then a change is in order. This condition often starts when a person has been under tremendous stress with no healthy outlet for their anger and frustration. The lesson is that you should learn how to delegate. The lesson is that you should learn how to delegate and ask for support. You have been running away from problems, often unresolved issues with a parent that make you feel unsafe, unloved, or inadequate. You are now forced to investigate your emotions. Self-created burdens now need to be analyzed, and it begs the question, why do you stress and burdens for yourself? Are you trying to distract yourself from reality and how you really feel? What is the hidden benefit or secondary gain in making life so hard for you? You often feel like the direct target of anger and resentment. You have a fear of rocking the boat in the family if you need to express yourself. You may resent the fact that others can see you are in need of support, yet no one reaches out to help. You need to learn how to ask for support and feel worthy of it without a fear of being in debt to someone. This path often turns into a vicious cycle that influences all your relations and goals in life. You feel a great deal of frustration towards circumstances and the fact that you're controlled because of your own poor boundaries. As a result, you feel trapped, stagnant, or without emotional freedom. There is often a great deal of tension in your lungs due to suppressed resentment, grief, or disappointment. Oh, and you had just said earlier how the pain is like in the lungs. The more infection or pain there is in the broken bone area, the more anger, resentment, and grief you're holding onto. You have suppressed a great deal of strong emotions that are now simmering to the surface. Explore recent events that may have triggered childhood traumas. Woo! How do you feel about that?
Yeah, pretty much. There's a lot of that. Yeah, I think it's funny that I've definitely been feeling the lung thing too.
Yeah. So like when we do session Thursday.
Yeah, I'm actually very excited. I'll have to
When
say.
we have your session, we're gonna try to shift a lot of this stuff. And it's all stuff that like I feel like you've been working on,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and this is why I say like being activated, because yeah, you have maybe some things that you're still continuing from when the accident happened, but I also feel like because I know what we've been working on in session and the things you've been working on in your life, it makes sense to me that you would be having this pain because it's actually stuff you are shifting. And so when you're shifting that energy, the body will basically show you're shifting your energy. It's like after sessions, right? Birthdays, it takes, after doing a session with me, it takes 3 days for the energy to, solidify. It's like shaking up a snow globe and everything is shaken and then it has to settle in its new space. And during that time, depending on what energy is shifting where, someone could have a multitude of symptoms from fever. I had that ended up in the hospital because she got like this infection and all of this stuff, and it led to all this stuff. Or it could be nothing. Some people just feel light and happy, but depending on how much energy is shifting and what's happening, the body will respond by shifting these symptoms. And so it makes sense to me, as you've been working on this stuff for a long time, that your body is reflecting, hey, you're shifting energy in this area and this and that, right? Although this is uncomfortable, I also know that this can be a reflection of the fact that the energy is actually shifting. I'm so excited that this is actually shifting. I'm so excited to align with this version of myself where this isn't an issue anymore. I'm so excited to align with a version of myself that's healed. I'm so excited for this, and understanding that, choosing to see it that way, and so it is. Right?
Yes.
Because there's the choice where we can choose to go, oh yeah, something is wrong and this is wrong and why am I doing this and blah, 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 and my body is hurting and my body, right? And if we choose to believe that, then that is the reality that we will have. But if we choose to go, oh, this is a sign of my healing. Oh, like with the purge. Oh, although this is really painful and uncomfortable, this is actually a sign of my healing and that I'm raising my vibration. I'm so excited to raise my vibration. This is awesome. I don't know what's going to happen, but I know it's going to be better than it was. I'm so excited to see what I manifest. It's going to be awesome. And doing that, thinking that raises the vibration. So just doing that will align you with something better. But then also it creates that is the experience you will have, that you will have an experience of healing instead of an experience of, oh, my body is sick. Oh, my body is hurting. Oh, this and this and this. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is so freaking cool. Yeah. So see, this is our body. That's it. Like, so if you're having symptoms in your body, if you're having sensations, if you're having illness, I really want to encourage you to experiment. Just experiment. Oh, sorry. Just experiment with, like, say, for 30 days, I'm going to experiment with what happens and see what happens if I choose to believe that my body is healthy and healed and it's just communicating to me.
Yeah.
Just experiment. Like, what happens if I choose to believe that I create my own reality, and that although my body is in pain, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it? Like, experiment with it. Don't take my word for it. Like, experiment with it. And if you do it for 30 days and it doesn't, like, have any benefit, then throw it out. Maybe I'm full of bullshit. I mean, I know, but you got to experiment to see. And one of the things that we wanted to also make sure we brought up is how even the experience of, like, ADHD.
Yes.
So many of us are having this awakening to, like, oh, experiencing ADHD, and my entire life is basically just been a series of, me experiencing ADHD symptoms, right? And what the world will do, oh, ow, sorry. What the world will do is it will tell you, oh, you have ADHD, you're broken, something is wrong, you're doing life wrong, you need to take these drugs so that you can fit into our box.
Yeah.
And Misfit Sanctuary is all about. I have had a bunch of people say, like, oh, the name Misfit, like, is really off-putting. You might want to change that. And I'm like, no, what we want to do is reclaim Misfit. It is not a negative word. It is a positive. Like, we want to be the misfits. We want to step outside of the box. We want to reclaim our sovereignty. We don't want to keep doing what everyone else is doing, because what everyone else has been doing for years and years is not getting us the results that we want. So it's time to try something different. And so ADHD, the experience with ADHD is a guide to that, right? When we able to shift out of the program of, oh, this is something bad, something is wrong with me, my brain is not working properly, yada yada yada, like, oh, it causes all these problems, shift into, oh, my brain and my body is working exactly the way it should be. I came here to be and embody the shift and the change. And brain, my beautiful experience with ADHD is just guiding me into that new reality, because the only time ADHD is actually a problem is when we are trying to force ourselves to be in this old paradigm. We understand. Oh, I think I froze. Did I freeze?
You did. You just slowed down, but you're good.
Okay. When we choose to see that actually we want to pull ourselves, those of us that are having the ADHD experience want to pull ourselves out of that paradigm, and we want to create our own paradigm, one in which we function well in. And that's going to look like most of us are going to be entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Because we are no longer able to function on the timeline of this bullshit cog in the machine clock of, checking in at this time, being around people that you don't want to be around, doing a job that you don't want to do just because, it pays the bills. Like that is going to be death to someone with ADHD, with the experience of ADHD. And so in unraveling the experience with my experience with ADHD, I realized like I let it be a guide. And that is how I ended up in this space where I own my own business. I create my own reality on every level, and it feels amazing. If I want to rest, I rest. If I need to move my schedule around because my energy levels are fluctuating, I can do that. I'm owning my power. If I want to do this 1 minute and this another minute and this another minute and this another minute, then I trust that I'm divinely being guided, and I'm, learning things that are going to help me align with my path. So much the time the world says like, oh, you can't stay focused, and you won't focus on this thing that you need to learn. You won't focus on, fucking algebra for
Right.
years. Like, no, because it's not needed for my reality, right? Like, if algebra, maybe someone who came here to have the experience of being an engineer, they're gonna love algebra. Like,
Yeah.
they're gonna love it. It's gonna fill them up with joy and excitement, and they're gonna love answering the problems, and it's gonna fill them up with joy. If it doesn't fill you up with joy, don't do it.
Yeah.
Like, that's the biggest thing. And I think that, again, is something hard for people to pick, because we have these programs still running of, well, I have to fit into this paradigm. And in order for me to fit into this paradigm, I can't just do what makes me happy. I have to work. Right. And I think ADHD is a superpower.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a disability. I think it's a superpower. But it only became a superpower once I decided that I was no longer going to force myself to fit into the old paradigm.
Yes.
As soon as that decision that like that paradigm isn't meant for me, I came here to create my own reality, and then looking at like, well, what does that look like? What are my needs? Like,
Yeah.
what are my needs? What are your needs? We need to know these things. We need to know what our needs are, what our actual needs are. What's the difference between a want and a need? There's some people will say like, eat anything other than to eat, sleep, and shit. You know what I mean? Or die. Like, oh, these are the only needs that we have. No, we have other needs. We have needs to be seen.
Yep.
We all have a need to be seen, and then we've been shamed into like, well, if you want to be seen, then you're an attention whore, or then you should be ashamed of yourself for some reason. Like, where you want to be seen.
So crazy. Or even the need to connect.
Right.
If we don't know how to do that in a healthy way, we do it in ways that create problems, as well as, we're supposed to be ashamed of it.
Yep. Yeah. Like, for example, how we were talking earlier about bonding through negative self-talk.
Yeah. We
have the need to be connected. We have the need to bond. And we're going to meet that need. I had a need to be seen, but I was shamed by my mom for that. Everything, the whole thing, like one of the programs I have had to continue working through is, you're just doing it for attention. And at some point I had to stop and go, what is bad about wanting to get attention?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not the wanting to get attention that is the problem. It's the fact that I won't accept that I have a need and a want to get attention. And
Mhm.
so I'm not going about it in healthy, transformative ways. I am going around my ass to get to my elbow and making myself sick, because then I could get attention in a way where, you know, but even that came around a bit me in my ass, because eventually people started to reflect like, you're just looking for attention. And I was. And so now a whole big part of me doing these YouTubes is me working through the process of releasing the fear of being seen, and believing that it is safe to receive attention in a way that feels healthy and fulfilling and brings joy to people's lives as well as my own. And I love this. I
Yeah.
love live with you, Joey. And I
I,
love all of these beautiful people who are joining us. It feels like we're hanging out, and I love it. And us doing this, like us coming together for this hour or two, we're raising the vibration. We're raising our own vibration. We're healing together. We're becoming aware of, our thoughts and beliefs and patterns that we're going to shift. Talk about the 8-8 Lions Gate portal. Like, we are manifesting powerful things for ourselves by coming together and looking at this stuff and owning responsibility that we do create our reality, and that we can shift it. And it's just amazing. Like, doing this is amazing. It brings me so much joy.
yes, yes, I love it. I mean, and to me, it's just like, it's also just completely selfish for me in a way, because, hey, I just feel so much better after this. This is like, I get to chat with one of my best friends in the entire world, as well as make connections, have that connection with other people. And this is a great way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, so I mean, what a beautiful way to meet that need,
Yes.
you know? And then by allowing ourselves to have this space, we will no longer do these like unhealthy things to get attention, because we're just allowing it to happen. You know, uh, if there's a need for connection, right? So meeting the need for connection in this way, no, the body, the consciousness will know, I'm going to have that need met twice a week.
Yeah.
Um, so I no longer need to go around my ass to get to my elbow to get this need met. I don't need to manipulate in order
Yeah.
to get this need met. I know that, I'm in this now reality. I'm going to do this thing to get my need met. It's just a beautiful thing, this whole self-discovery thing. And also, speaking of meeting once a week, we are going to be shifting the time,
Mm-hmm.
coming on at 1 o'clock to coming on at noon.
Yes.
We're going to be shifting from now on to coming on at noon. And I know we went like much longer today, but I am really wanting to work on at least Topic Tuesday, keeping it down to an hour.
Right.
But I watch other people who do lives. Like, I love Billy Carson. If y'all aren't following Billy Carson in Forbidden Knowledge, like the number 4 bidden knowledge, you need to. And he goes live, and he's live for 3 hours talking about this. So
He'll just go. Some of my favorite people are just like, okay, I'm going to keep it to an hour. And then 2 hours later.
yeah, it is what it is. It'll be what it needs to be. The only reason, honestly, the only reason I feel called to try to keep it to an hour is so that I can have clients in the afternoon.
Absolutely.
That's really the only reason. Because I love this. Like, we can hang out all day, but
And we've done it.
and we spent like 6 hours together just hanging out on Zoom the other day, because he's in another state, and so we just like hung out on Zoom all day the other day. And Carlos was like, "You were just on Zoom for like 6-7 hours." I was like, "Yeah, I was hanging out with my friend."
Yeah. It was great.
It's so great. It's so great. You know. So is there anything else, Joey, that you think that's coming up that I need to kind of talk about or speak on? I don't know if anyone is still joining us, but do y'all have any questions or need any kind of clarity or want any kind of support? Like, how do I do this? Or, any questions at all, feel free to type them out right now. I'm just going to a minute for that. Joey, is there anything that you feel like I missed or that I need to kind of chat about?
There's nothing I can think of right off the top of my head that needs to be addressed that you didn't address. I mean, also just acknowledging there's so much here.
Yeah.
Addressed. I do want to also mention that Louise Hayes wrote a book. I think she wrote the first one in like 1970 something, called What Hurts. And then they changed that book to Heal Your Body. Yeah. And then it was Heal Your Life. And that was where I was originally introduced to this concept of, physical stuff isn't just physical stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's done some really great work.
Yeah, that is like Yvette Rose talks about how Louise Hay is the foundation of all of this work. Yeah, Louise Hay, I really loved her stuff. I had a lot of resistance to it also, though, because I being raped.
Oh, yeah. Ugh.
And I can't remember the affirmation that she had, but I wasn't at the point of taking ownership over the fact that I created my reality, and thus I created that experience for myself also. No shame, no blame, no any of that. Just understanding that that's where I was vibrating. And so when we're vibrating at certain levels, we align with all of these other things, and not that I deserved it, but just that I co-created that experience. I was learning something or whatever. I believe that the sexual abuse happened, so that my soul could expand in certain ways and so that I could learn certain things. But I wasn't at that point of hearing it then. Yeah. And so when I read Louise Hay's stuff on being raped, it felt victim blaming. Sure. Like it was my fault, and like I've said, like I can't say it enough, there's a fine line between owning our responsibility and blaming ourselves for our experience.
Yes. Yeah. And it's hard because you slip into it so easy. It just you have to watch it constantly.
You got to watch it, and you got to understand that if the goal is to create a reality that we love living, if the goal is actually, like, a lot of people say they wanna, but maybe they don't wanna. Maybe they like to talk about wanna, but they don't actually wanna. Maybe they talk about wanting to create a better reality, or maybe they talk about wanting to heal because they feel pressured that that's what they should want. And maybe they don't actually want that. Some of us, the way we shift up, some of us, the way we bring in the light is by shifting out. And there's no shame or blame with that. If someone is having the reality, if they came here and the way that they are going to shift up is by shifting out. And by shifting up, I'm talking about bringing in the light, right? Mm-hmm. Raising the vibration. Absolutely. And sometimes the easiest way for someone to raise the vibration is for them to leave their body. And that's okay. And we all came here to have our own experiences. So if somebody is having an experience of suffering and they're talking about wanting to heal just because they feel pressured from society that they should want that, but they actually don't want that, I'm not talking to those people. I'm talking to the people who genuinely are having an experience that they don't necessarily want, and they want to shift into a new reality. If you are one of those people, then you must take personal responsibility that how you are feeling in each and every moment, whether you are conscious of it or not, you are creating something that you will align with. And so if you are in the cycle of shame and blame, then do not be surprised when your reality reflects to you more shameful things, more things to blame yourself about, more things to feel shame. And understanding that if you don't like that, first it starts by in each moment choosing something different than shame or blame. You know, just shift up, a little bit. You can choose, instead of shame and blame, you can choose anger. Like the other thing too, understanding that, so everybody needs to print out, I want everyone to print out the vibrational emotional scale and understand that you don't need to go from shame and blame all the way up to joy. That might not be possible, right? But one can shift from shame or blame to anger, right? We can find ourselves in a situation, you know, walking through the process of realizing, oh, I feel like shit. Okay, where are my feet, right? Because there's a big possibility that we might feel like shit just because we're not present in the moment. And the body is releasing the alarm system. Hey, you are not present in your moment. You are creating chaos for yourself. Come back, come back, come back. Back. And we go, oh, well, where was I? Oh, I was feeling shame. Do I want to create more shame? No. Okay. What do I want to create? This is what I want to create. Okay, but how do I get there? Well, can I shift from feeling shameful about the experience to allowing myself to feel angry about the experience? Allowing yourself to get angry, like, oh, I'm so fucking mad that that happened. You know, oh my God. Oh, and this, you know, and like, oh, I'm so angry that I'm even having to do this work, and like allowing that anger to come in. Some people might not say that that's positive, but if you're coming from shame and you've bounced up to anger, hey, anger is the first place where energy is really moving. Like that's a shift up. You did it. And so once you get to yourself to the anger and you're feeling angry, then you can go, look at me. I just shifted up. I just raised my vibration. I'm doing the work. Wow, I'm doing the work. I'm so excited to see what happens now that I shifted up. And that's how you kind of piggyback, right? You go from shame and guilt to anger, and then suddenly you're up in pride and joy.
Yeah.
Right? It's like leapfrog.
Absolutely.
You know, and it all comes down to being present in the moment and just being with whatever is. Like, you know, and there might need to be work on, like Betsy was saying earlier, sometimes the negative self-talk comes from our parents. So like being present with like, where does this thought and belief come from? Is it even mine? Is it even mine? No, it's not mine. I'm gonna let it go. Right? Okay. Well, fuck that shit. This is my fault. There's no blame here. Maybe I participated in creating this reality so that I could show myself that I am stuck in a program of blame and shame. Do I have to continue to shame and blame so that I can show myself I shame and blame? No, I'm done with that. Okay, great. Done. Released. Right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, I think I want to do more work on like really coaching groups of people. Like I would love to have a group healing where like I took people up on stage or I brought people on camera. This is the thought that I'm having. This is the belief that I have. And walking them through themselves present and shifting it and then choosing what they want. Right?
Yeah.
I would love to do that. I would really love to do that.
That would be amazing.
Right? Because each situation be different. And it's kind of hard to put a blanket. I mean, I can blanket statement it like, the process, but sometimes we need like support going through it. I don't know.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So, okay.
Uh-huh.
I
That's
think
lovely.
I think that's a great idea. Maybe, and we'll work on that. Oh, real quick before we get off of here. This is the last thing. I had said I was going to look up. Okay, I have to text my son to come and let our cat in. Got my princess in my prince. They're in the bedroom playing video games. Can you hear them?
No.
Oh, really? Okay. Okay. Bone fractures. So let's look at the programs that are related to bone fractures. And then in our session this week, we can shift them. And you can be thinking about them in the meantime. Okay. Bone fractures. Bone fractures occur when a bone cannot withstand outside forces that are applied to it. Fracture, break, and crack all mean the same thing in that the bone structure fails. There are few bodily pains that can compare to that of a broken bone. Thank you, buddy. Some people pass out from the pain, and people have even died from the shock of a large bone being broken. A broken bone hurts because the nerve endings that surround the bone contain pain fibers. These fibers irritated when a bone is broken. Also, broken bones bleed, and the blood and associated swelling cause pain. Okay, that's just talking about more about bones. Okay. And then it goes into types of breaks. Intuitive. Okay, here we go. Intuitive insights. All right, it doesn't give any specific programs, but intuitive insights. The bones and the spine align themselves when the muscles relax. It is tension in the muscles that prevents the bones from staying in alignment. With a broken bone, it is necessary to do intuitive work on the muscles at the same time as the bone. Remember, the creator of all that is will take care of it. Since the bones hold us up, they think they are the most important part of the body. And it is true that everything is based on them, the ligaments, muscles, and the nervous system. They are the core of all that we are. They are directly connected to the crown chakra. And because of this, they are a spiritual tuning fork, hence saying, I feel it in my bones.
Wow.
Anytime you work with bones, you are also working with cartilage. The front part of the rib is made out of cartilage, so you can breathe, while the back of it is made out of bone. The sternum is also cartilage. In order to do a healing of any kind of fracture, go into the theta and command the bone to go back to before the time the accident happened. Say, no, this did not happen, and watch the change in the bone. Like when she says watch the change in the bone, she means like up in the theta realm. What I would be doing is watching the change in the bone.
Okay.
The skeletal system is extremely easy to heal and happy to cooperate. Bones that are broken and separated can be worked on by doing the basic healing technique, going up and commanding the bone to be completely healed, watching it heal, and wrapping it in calcium. When doing healing on a bone, remember to bring in the creative energy of all that is, otherwise the body will steal calcium from the other bones, especially in the hip bones. So by wrapping it in calcium from the creator of all that is, not pulling it from other parts of the body. Okay. If you experience a person with pound fracture, you will, of course, call the emergency services as well as do healing on them. Never attempt to physically push a bone. Belief work. If the bone does not heal immediately, go into a deeper theta state. Be gentle with yourself. Consistency in the healing will come with practice. Remember that belief work might be necessary, and it might be your beliefs that are blocking the healing. See if you fear injury or disease. Injury can also be tied to the subconscious belief pertaining to sacrifice and worthiness issues. You must be tactful with a client when there are emotional issues in the bones, because they are generally about trust and having support in life. Many people have issues with God. They must trust God. They must trust that God supports them. Okay. And we have been working on support with you, giving and receiving support, asking for it.
It's huge.
But this time we'll go in and I will see the bone heal and wrap it in the calcium from the creative that is. See, that's something that I haven't been doing. Like, I haven't been commanding the I've been working on the beliefs under, like with all, I've been working on the beliefs that are upholding the injury or the illness. But I haven't gone in and just said, God, heal this bone. Like, or heal this disease, or heal this whatever. Like, that's something I'm going to start really applying.
Awesome. Heck yeah. Well, and you were just not guided to do that yet because there was a lot of layers that needed to be addressed first.
Right. Totally. Yeah.
Like this arm hand thing is a whole thing too.
Yes.
But I really do feel like it's all tied.
It is. This is the thing that I try to talk with like everyone about, is understanding that as you are healing things, your body will have physical symptoms. It does not anything is wrong. It can just simply show you that energy is healing and moving and being activated. Like, again, it's all about the story we create about something. If we create a story that something is wrong and something is bad and I'm sick and then the reality we're going to have. But if we can be brave enough to experiment with what happens if I believe that this is exactly how it should be right now, and that my body is communicating to me, and that this is a sign that I am doing the work. And like, because no, if you're having that experience, then you're no longer dissociated. You're in the experience. You're witnessing the experience. You're witnessing the energy change. And you had said something, not to like keep going, I'm sorry, but you had said something. Oh my goodness, princess. Can you hear her?
I did hear a little bit, not much though.
You just came inside. I wanted to talk about how, what?
I said, but she's a cat. She wants in and out, in and out.
In and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. I wanted to real quick talk about how earlier you had mentioned that oftentimes people dissociate.
Yes.
They have pain in their body. And this was one of my experiences. And so what happened was, when I was doing all of this work, I realized that we create this like negative feedback loop where we are dissociating because there's pain in the body, and we are in resistance to feeling and being with that pain. But at the same time, the only time we are present is if the body is in pain.
Wow.
And so the pain becomes a constant call,
Mm-hmm.
consciousness, like, please come be here with me. Come be here with me. Come be here with me. You and it is only when I stopped resisting the pain and I chose to be present. Like, the body is also having this experience and needs to be witnessed and seen and held and loved for its experience. And when we are constantly dissociating because of the pain, we are abandoning ourselves.
Yes.
And so we have to then do the work, the very hard sometimes work of being with the, and we may cry, and all the things will come up, right? And
Yeah.
if we can, time and time again, instead of, oh, I'm in pain, how can I get out of it? Oh, I'm in pain, how can I get out of it? Realize that the pain is going to continue until we sit with it. And so then the question becomes, how can I be present with myself right now? With
Mm-hmm.
what can I do right now to comfort myself with the pain? You know, okay, am I really present? Right? Sometimes we can do the work of becoming present and the pain goes away,
Yes.
right? Sometimes we become present and we go, oh my God, I am in so much fucking pain.
Yeah.
Then we need to cry and we need to release and we need to love ourselves and we need to hold ourselves and rock ourselves. And oh, I see you. I'm so sorry you're in so much pain. Oh, body, I'm sorry you're in pain. I love you so much. I'm doing everything I can to change this and create something better. I'm so sorry you're hurting. I love you. I love you. I love you. And cry and just be with the pain,
Yeah.
because it's like our entire, oh my God, I have to let my cat out. She is like,
Making you crazy.
she's making me crazy. So sorry.
There's actually an entry in the book as well, just for pain.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. So just to read a little bit of it, I'm sure you'll be back, but
Yeah,
pain is
yeah.
often an indication that you should move away from unhealthy people and bad habits.
Oh,
You resolve problematic circumstances that have become out of control. It is also an indication that it's time to move away and change your thinking, as it is out of date in regard to the way your life has changed.
speaking of pain.
There's a lot more, but yeah, even just that much really kind of addresses like how I'm experiencing old injury pain, right? So it's out of alignment with how my life has changed.
Mm-hmm. And so
Interesting.
looking at your experience, right? Trying to pinpoint, we don't have to do it right now. I mean, we can, but like we can do it in session. Looking at, and I have my own ideas.
Mm-hmm.
What about you for where you are living out of alignment?
Yeah.
You know,
I think there's still quite a few areas where it's like even though, it's one of that, oh, I know better, but it's also here I am. I feel like just interacting with the society around me and even interacting with the financial level of the society, the relationship level of the society, the friendship level of the society, the professional peers level of society. I feel like there's so much distortion still that is, maybe apparent to me. And therefore, even, any of us that can see it, it's like almost even more painful to have to go in and experiencing it just to interact with others, just to have the connections, just to have the community.
right. And so with that, I want to again bring that this is the experience that you're having, and that this is the experience that a lot of people are having. That they're in a version of reality that hitting with society is painful, right?
Yes.
Is that what I heard you say?
Absolutely.
And it's like, I wonder what could happen if you experimented with, and anyone having this experience, and myself at times, have to do this work also, to realize that that experience is a reflection of inner stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and looking at the specific ways that participating with society is painful. Would you be willing to give me an example of just one of the ways participating with society is painful, and we can kind of show people what it looks like to like
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. Just trying to think of what would be the best. Well, okay, I have and we kind of touched on this earlier. I find it, as much as I love other women, I find it difficult to connect to them in a way that's as authentic as I really need it to be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Yes.
Yes, I've lost a lot of people in my life over the last few years. So what I've decided is I need some really authentic friendships, and those have been a lot more difficult than I anticipated.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yes. Yes. I feel that as someone also working through that experience. And so then that causes us to look at a few things. First, it's automatically going to go back to the mother wound.
Oof.
Right.
It's a big one.
It is. It's a big one. Because our mothers are our first example of what being a woman is, how a woman should behave. And so when we have an unhealthy version, right,
Yes.
then we will create beliefs that women are fill in the blank.
Yeah.
Women are not trustworthy. Sometimes our moms literally teach us, don't trust other women.
Yeah.
They'll steal your man. They'll talk about you behind. I mean, like, I know I received so much indoctrination about what women are.
So terrible.
Right? And they're trying to keep us safe. Like, having forgiveness and grace and mercy for them, because that, like, a lot of people, the way they try to keep their children safe is by telling them how horrible something is, and that you should avoid it. Right?
Yeah.
Not realizing that they're programming their children with the belief that this is real, and then that child will also have that same reality. So you're really doing the opposite of what you're trying to do. You really want to, like, if you're a parent and you have had a negative experience with women, the last thing you want to do is teach your child about how negative women are. You want to actually enforce, hey, women can be this, women can be this, that, so that the child can have the program of, oh, women can be safe, women can be honest, women can be supportive. And looking at that, and again asking ourselves these beliefs. So let's just say, for example, one of the programs we got was that other women, right? We want to acknowledge where that came from, and then we want to go, is that true? Is that true of all women? Can I know 100% that there are no women that are trustworthy? Right? No.
Mm-hmm.
No, I can look around and I see women in sisterhood. I see that there are other women who, I don't know how yet, but somehow they've created this bond, this deep, deep connection, this unconditional love with other women. And that's going to be a reflection, like, of understanding that, first of all, we can only attract what we are. So us being women, so first it's mother wound, but then it's going to be us and the relationship we have with ourselves. Are
Absolutely.
trustworthy with ourselves, or do we abandon and betray ourselves constantly? Because we abandon and betray ourselves, and the reflection we will see in other women is abandonment and betrayal.
Absolutely.
Right? And so understanding that the truth could be, right? Although the experience that I'm having is that I can't have a safe connection with women, right? We'll just say, right. I also know that it is possible to have a safe connection with women. That safe connection with women will be a reflection of my own safe connection with myself. Because as we know thyself, as we lean into our own experience and learning to work with our guides and learning to be authentic with ourselves and learning to trust ourselves and listening to our own boundaries and not betraying ourselves constantly, we will then have the discernment of who is safe and who's not. Because the reason why we have the experience of women are not safe is because we haven't quite learned, like, what safe women feel like.
Right.
Because we didn't have a healthy example of that in the beginning. The mother that we had was not a reflection of a safe woman. She may have been wonderful, right? Like, she may have been, our moms, they do the best, but in some way, shape, or form, she was not safe. And so that's reflected into our society. And so the way we we can reprogram that, I can be safe around women, I can attract safe women, I know what safe women feel like. We can do programming, we can pull the programming of women are unsafe, or I am unsafe around women. We can pull those programming and work more in detail in session with those, but also really taking ownership, not shame and blame, just ownership over. Ooh, sorry. Ooh. Sometimes when I breathe, this pain is really intense. We also just own the fact that the outer reality is a reflection of the inner reality. And so if I'm struggling to create connection with women in my life, where am I disconnected from myself?
Yes.
If I am attracting women who are not trustworthy, how am I not trustworthy?
Yeah.
If I'm attracting women that are unsafe, where am I not respecting my own boundaries? Where am I not listening to the gentle nudges of spirit that says, hey, not this person?
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we end up around unsafe women because our own mother was unsafe, and we learned to shove down that intuitive side of ourselves that says, hey, mom's not safe.
Yeah.
Right? Because she's mom.
Yeah.
And to shove that down because she's the one that provided all for us,
Absolutely.
We had to learn how to shut down that intuitive thing of like, hey, something's not right here, right? We shut it down. And so then we do that in the external world with other women when our spidey senses are going, something's not quite right here. We'll go, why am I being so judgmental? Right? Like, we'll gaslight ourselves. Like, who am I? Like, no, like, this, look how nice this person is. Like, look, everybody likes them. Oh, look at this. Instead of honoring something's not right here. I may not know what it is, but I trust my spidey senses. and I'm gonna listen and maybe not bring this person into my inner circle.
Yeah.
You know? And as we learn how to do that, as we really learn how to trust discernment and our own intuitive nudges and our spirit guides saying like if you're hanging around with a woman and she is depleting you,
Right.
exhausted after hanging out with a woman, then there's a boundary being crossed, you know. And either they're an energy vampire or we have overstepped our own boundary of how much we're willing to offer from our time.
Yeah. Right.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so
Oof.
I would say starting there, right? Like starting there. And then also looking at women who have healthy bonds, looking
Yeah.
like showing yourself it's possible, right? That it is possible, that there are women who can come together in sisterhood and heal and go through these deep experiences together and love and support each other and have fun and you know, help raise each other's children or support each other through grief. Like give yourself examples. My favorite example of what that looks like right now is Layla Martin. She's the tantric, her you can look up her video or her channel on YouTube, Layla Martin. Her podcast is This Tantric Life. And then Gina, Gena. And they are, I love watching them together. When they have a video on Layla Martin's YouTube channel where she's interviewing Mama Gina. Mama Gina's a powerhouse. She created all of this stuff for women, like amazing, amazing coach for women, amazing woman. And we met, I think they in the podcast they said like 3 or 4 years ago. And they've done all this work and healing together. And I watch them and I'm like, I want that.
Yeah.
I want that. Wow. And instead of going, oh, I want that and I don't have that and it's not possible for me, going, look, it is possible. I am so excited to align with something like that. What do they have going on that makes it so deep? And if you look, the reason why they've been able to go so deep together is because each of them is willing to go deep within themselves.
Yeah.
And as they're willing to go within themselves, the deeper they can meet in connection. Right?
That's amazing. Yeah.
It all goes back to a reflection of the self. What do I believe is true? Do I believe, you know, what do I believe about women? Because if we believe women are not safe, then we're not going to attract that sisterhood.
Absolutely.
And I too, you know, Joey, I'll tell you, like, I am craving that. I've realized, oh, it might tear me up a little bit, but you know, I talk about how my mom was my worst enemy and my best friend.
Yeah.
When I say she was my best friend, I really mean it. She was so funny. Like, she was so funny. She was the funniest lady I've ever met in my entire life. She just, and we would get together and we would crack up. And I could say things with her that I haven't found other people that I could say that stuff with because my mom knew me. My mom knew I didn't mean whatever it was, you know, so we could just say anything. And knew each other so well, it was safe to just be silly. And we would just, I mean, I remember we both, you know, smoked cannabis together. So that might have something to do with it. But we would smoke and watch these movies together, and we would have to pause the movie because we were laughing so hard we couldn't breathe. Like, I haven't laughed that hard with anyone since my mom died in 2017.
Gosh.
And I realized that my mom as even as toxic as it was, she was my sisterhood.
Yes.
She was the only place that I could be me.
Mm,
She might
yeah.
she might not like it, and she will very well tell me she doesn't like it.
Mm-hmm.
I know I even though it felt sometimes like my mom didn't love me, I know my mom always loved me.
Yeah.
She didn't like who I was,
Yeah.
but she always loved me.
Yes.
And that's what I want to attract with my sisterhood. Like, so when we're doing this work, again, it's like being in the moment of realizing, oh, I'm feeling disconnected. I what is this disconnection showing me that I want? Oh, it's showing me that I want connection. What kind of connection? Well, I want connection with other women. Okay, well, what kind of connection with other women? What does that look like? And then
Yeah.
go into, what would that look like? What do I want? Oh, well, I know I'm not enjoying connection with women who we only bond over being negative. So I know I have connection with women where we can bond bragging on each other. I want
Yeah.
a connection where my friends and I constantly brag on how awesome the other person is and how
Yeah.
awesome they are. Right? Like, this
Absolutely.
is my own personal, this is what I want. I want I want to create partnership and connection with women who not build other people up, but build themselves up without shame or being egotistical or putting other people down, you know? I want sisterhood where we can be funny. I want to have fun. I want a group of girls or women that I can cut up with and be silly and be fun and laugh so hard that I'm not breathing. Like, and then going into, now I have clarity over what I want. I can go into the manifestation realm of seeing it and
Yeah.
it, and knowing because I have felt it in my body, and so it is, and that means I'm aligning with it. And I'm so excited to align with it. And now my job is to just pull all the blocks that are
Yeah.
between where I'm at and that manifestation. What is blocking me? And it's going to be the relationship with myself,
Yes.
but
Awesome.
it's possible. It
That's
is.
beautiful. I love that. Oh,
Yeah. And so then the work becomes, in every moment that you catch yourself feeling disconnected, or that you catch yourself sad that you don't have a community, or whatever version of that feeling that comes up, immediately you're going to go into, this is what connection looks like. I'm so excited to align with it. I know because I've seen it and I've felt it. It is real, and I know I'm doing the work to heal myself. So I know that's going to happen. Woo! I'm so excited. And like, you feel the joy building in your body and the excitement. And that joy and excitement is the confirmation that the energy has shifted.
yes.
Right. And like, now it's just about like, okay, now I've created a new reality where I'm aligning with a group of women who are healthy and supportive and hilarious and fun. And now all I have to do is make sure I'm working on being a reflection of something that can align with that, right? But then backing up and letting the universe realign. Because that's the other thing we have to realize. Like, some things are instant, but some things, drastic shift into it, that we have to, this is where the feminine, divine femininity comes in, understanding we are magnetic. We don't have to always be in action. And oftentimes, by being in action, we are fucking shit up. And so creating it, knowing that once we've seen it and felt it and experienced it in the astral realm, and it is created, period, it's created, and we can align with it, and we just have to do the work to be a vibrational um for it, and then
Yeah.
back up and watch the universe slowly, because now the universe is like, oh, Oh, now she chose that. She raised her vibration here. Okay, so now she has to meet this person, so this person can introduce her to this person, and then she's going to go to this workshop, and then in this workshop she's going to meet this person, and this person's going to take her to this class, whatever, and it'll realign and create a whole new thing so that we can actually line up with what it is that we've created. And so some just have to realize that and like sit back and be patient for the universe to do what it's going to do, and hold the vibration of, I am so excited to align with that. That's going to be awesome.
Yes. Yes. Oh.
And by doing that, Joey, not only will you be aligning with that, but in each moment, you'll be shifting your vibration up. So not only will you align with that, but your entire reality will change because you just simply raised your vibration.
Yeah. That's pretty beautiful. I mean, that feels great. I mean, that just feels, if I can just sit at that level for a while, get to know it.
Yeah, getting to know it, like that's the thing, is like a lot of us, maybe we're working with programs that say I'm not allowed to feel happy or to feel good, or not even I'm not allowed, but sometimes it's not safe to be happy because maybe we grew up in a house where when we were happy, there was someone to come in and cut us down.
Yeah.
And so we developed this like, oh, it's not safe for me to be happy. And then so if anyone watching this, if you're having the experience of not being able to sit in that high vibration of, oh, that feels so good, I am in alignment with that, like, wow, that feels amazing, I'm really excited to have that in my life. If you can't sit in that and you keep pulling yourself back down, there may be the programs that you have to release related to, I'm allowed, it is safe, it is possible to be happy and feel happy.
Yeah. I think that's a lot of people.
Yeah. 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 Because like, well, what if I'm oh, here's a big one. Well, what if I'm happy and then I'm not?
Yeah.
Right? What if I'm happy and I'm feeling good and then something comes and takes it away and then I'm not happy anymore? Then I have to deal with the feeling of not being happy anymore, and that's depressing. And with that, I say that's more opportunity to practice this alchemy. Every time you feel like shit, whenever you're experiencing like you're on the high and then you come back down, it's really just as simple as, where are my feet, bringing myself present, what's around me in my environment, that I love, so I can get my vibration to a higher, it's like you can't solve a problem from the same place it was created. You have to get up a little higher so you can see over the whole thing. So you get yourself to a vibration of love and then go, okay, where was I? What was I experiencing? What made me feel like shit? Oh, I was thinking I'm not enough. I was thinking, I'm not enough, and there's no way I can align with that. Or whatever it might be, like, oh, I had an invasive thought that came and I remembered my mom beating me. Like, it could be anything, right? And then it's just an opportunity to do the alchemy, to heal, see, and see, release, and heal whatever it is that's coming to the surface to be seen, some or believe. And then, well, what is this showing me I want? And let's just say that it's like, oh, I was remembering my mom tell me this thing, and it made me feel like, or I don't know, let's say like, well, I was feeling I'm not enough. That pops in. Okay, where does that come from? Whose voice is that? See it, love it, release it, and then go, what is this feeling or this experience of feeling like I'm not enough showing me that I want? Well, showing me I want to feel like I am enough. Okay, what does that look like? Look like to feel enough and create it. You have to create it. You go, oh, well, if I feel like I'm enough, I'll probably feel really happy. What does it look like to feel happy? Oh, if I feel like I'm enough, then maybe I won't be like people pleasing all of the time because I won't be trying to earn being
Yeah.
right. Ooh, what does that look like? What does it look like to not people please? What does it look like to hold my own boundaries? If I believe I'm enough, maybe I'll have boundaries. And just
Yeah.
going with, well, what would that look like? And creating it, and then being excited to align with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it may feel like this,
Yes.
but I promise you, it ends up going after you get the hang of it, after you get this practice down of bringing yourself present, raising your vibration to a place of love, looking at where whatever's coming up, seeing it, loving it, releasing it, and then allowing it to show you what you want, and then just focusing on what you want. Like now I do it like this. It's like I can do it while I'm talking to people. I'm doing it in the back of my mind. I don't have to stop and cry. I mean, sometimes things occasionally come up that I need to go cry about. But for the most part, it's just it becomes second nature.
So
What's that?
cool. That is so cool. I just looked up again, and it's just like it just reminded me like the 8-8. That's really what it's all about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big deal.
Big stuff. Big stuff.
Absolutely.
Awesome being a creator of our reality. It's scary at first, I understand, because we have to work through, fear of responsibility or fear of success or all of those things. Like I know in the beginning, but man, I love, it fills me with so much joy to know that I create my reality.
Really, it does, because it gives you, I mean, that's that free will. That's what we're here for. Like, we just got to learn how to do it.
We just gotta learn how to do it. Like,
and teach ourselves all of
that. Yeah. Everything in our environment has been set up to not do that. So we really do have to learn how to do it. And once we learn how to do it, even when I create something I genuinely love, going, oh, that is so shitty. Wow, that fucking hurts. Oh my God. Why would I create that? Oh, I'm teaching myself something. Oh, what am I learning from this? What am I teaching myself? And immediately going into ownership over it instead of victim. Right?
Absolutely.
Like that's powerful. Immediately going into not shame and blame, just like, oh, I created this. This is for my highest and best good. Like this might be a shit sandwich on a Sunday afternoon, but I created it because it is really, my soul needed this right now. What am I learning? What am I seeing I want? How is this helping me focus my vibration? Where am I seeing within myself that, I want to shift? Now we know how to shift that. Like it becomes fun. It's nothing is not, not to say that, I don't know that there's ever like a perfect feeling like, oh, life is perfect. I don't know. Maybe I haven't gotten there yet, but I have moments that feel perfect. But I guess the thing is really feeling like it's all perfect. Like even when it's fucked, it's perfect.
Yep.
Even right. And like finding joy. One of my favorite things is you have to sift through the shit to find the glitter. Like, like even when you're in the shit pile. Awesome.
Yeah. It's true.
That's not to say, and I want to be very careful here to make sure that people hear me. I understand that there are circumstances that are extremely painful, like losing a loved one. Not everything is light and airy. Some things are dense, losing a partner, losing a child, going through severe illness. These things are dense and heavy, right? And being with that denseness and that heaviness and being honest with it and feeling all of the grief and all of the pain, right? And challenging, really challenging to still find joy in it, right? Even if the joy is, wow, my soul is really expanding right now because this hurts.
Yes.
Wow, like this is so incredibly painful. This is like, and we can't even, like, when we can't imagine like why something is happening, and I was there, like why would I be dying? Why would I be dying? Why would I be homeless? Why would everyone abandon me? How do you find joy in those moments?
Gosh.
And it was the moment of like, wow, being homeless, right? Like I remember this day walking around being like, I I'm such a bad mom. Like I'm home, like I can't fucking get my shit together. Like what's going on with, like, what am I doing with my kids? Like, and hearing, do you want to create more of that? Being like, no. Okay, then push yourself to find the joy.
Wow.
And looking around at the environment and going, how can I feel joy in this? And then looking at, through this experience, I was creating intimacy with my children.
Wow. Yeah.
We were together, we were in it. And we were creating intimacy, and I was laying on a blanket watching them play on a jungle gym. And so my joy in that moment was like, although this time in my life is extremely painful, in this moment, because all it has to be is in this moment, in each moment, in this moment, in this moment, in this moment. The joy is my children are laughing and smiling, and that's lovely. But what about the moment where the children are crying and sad and everyone is sad? How do we find joy in that? And like, it was like finding joy in like, well, I know that I am learning something with this, and I know I'm going to take this and make it something better. Or understanding that if I'm experiencing such a deep amount of pain, that again, that pain is necessary for my soul's expansion, and I'm grateful that my soul is having the experience that it needs in order to evolve, and like really, really, really put like, it's a challenge, really. So Melinda said, I'm so surprised you guys are still with me. Thank you so much. um, Melinda said, it's not safe to be happy. I can relate to that. Wow, you just brought that to the surface for me. Thinking, yay! Good. That's a huge one. That's a huge, huge, huge one. Because if we have the belief it's not safe to be happy, then it doesn't matter what goodness is going on in our life, we are not going to be happy about it.
Absolutely.
And if we're not going to be happy about it, then we're creating more things to not be happy about.
And if we are happy about it, we're going to sabotage the crap with it.
Or, yep, because we're going to bring it right back down. And then so that, creates more issues, like self-sabotage is like self-abandonment, self-betrayal. And so then we'll create more circumstances. And understand, this isn't punishment. It's just the universe reflecting to us very lovingly.
Yeah.
What we have active so that we can go, oh, I have that active. I can shift it because I have the power, because I am a co-creator with the universe.
Absolutely.
I just can choose differently. So, okay. I feel like I feel complete. Do you feel complete?
Yes, that was lovely.
Okay, good. Awesome. Yes. I love that. I love this time that we spend together. I love the time that we get to like dig into all of this and look at all of this coming up. I know sometimes it goes like this, but I trust that whatever, it's happening for divine purpose, and that someone needed to hear, like Melinda, needed to hear that.
Absolutely.
And so with that, I love you guys so much. If you have hung in this whole time here, thank you for hanging in. Please feel free to reach out. You can find me on Instagram at misfit.sanctuary. I am on TikTok as Misfit Sanctuary. I am on Facebook, kinda, Misfit Sanctuary. Everything is Misfit Sanctuary, or you can email me at, and this is different, and I think I'm going to create a new email, but at metaphysicalmisfit.com, or sorry, metaphysicalmisfit@gmail.com. And so just reach out. I do offer sessions. So the first step is setting up a discovery call so we can just make sure we're a good fit. And yeah, love to support you on your journey. Thank you for being here and supporting me on mine. Thank you, Joey.
Thank you. This has been great.
Yeah, this has been awesome. And thank you everyone for being here. Thank you so, so, so very much for everyone who joined. And love and love to everybody.
Much love.
Much
Bye.
love. Wait 20 seconds. I'm watching it. Okay, there we go. Okay, bye.